All right. Hello, hello. Nice to see everybody.
Hello again.
Mm-hmm.
I changed my dice, my other ones,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really my fault. I've trained them to roll high
Mm-hmm.
throughout the years, and they didn't understand the new direction we were going. So we'll try these. We'll see how it goes.
One extra. Don't forget, new
Mm-hmm.
session.
New session. 1+1 to the pool, everybody.
I have already too many again. I don't know what I do wrong.
I'm always bad at this part too.
Well,
Actually, I
Can't we
should
just
probably
say
put in.
that half into each session, Renee and me, we just changed our amount of dice?
you switch them, right?
Yeah?
What I suggest, no. What I suggest is, should you be looking at a big pile of pool dice, there's nothing wrong with beefing up some traits.
Yeah, that's what I was.
But they never fail anyway.
The day will come.
Yes, today, maybe.
Mhm.
Maybe I should beef up something. I have a couple that don't have anything.
All right. Well, think about that for a bit while I talk a bit. Hopefully, not too long. Um, I want to emphasize to everybody that the walk up in the center of Freetown is quite large. Um, it, half a kilometer across this big circle. It's not, you can't throw a rock and hit somebody on the other side of it.
Right.
And even seeing people on the other, if you are on one edge, looking at people on the other edge, you don't have a very good visual on necessarily who they are unless they're very distinctive or what they're really doing, except in the vaguest or groupish sense, unless it's something super dramatic. So, yes, Helma.
I just want to flick in because it kind of hit me after last session. Kicksakal actually is pretty short,
Right, right.
which adds to it, I
True.
think.
That is true. And another aspect of the walkabout, or the walk up, I mean, is that it is ringed with um, some temporary and some over the years they've become permanent structures. None of them are uh, made of incredibly permanent material. There's no literal buildings, made of stone or metal or anything like that. But it is built up almost all around the perimeter so that when you walk up those stairs that we talked about, to some extent, there is a kind of a corridor effect based on the structures that are on the ground and some structures that are actually up on the walk up. And remember, it's very busy. I mean, this is a huge warren of commerce surrounding and on top of the whole thing. Um, for the events of the day, the security services had cleared the walk up itself of all of its activity. On the side that Hibu is on, accompanied by um, Tlektek Lek, the journalist from up above, and um, the captain, who has somewhat miserably obeyed Olmec in conducting you here and making you go through the motions of what you had been scheduled to do. And no more flitting about the city, thank you very much. Um, and he is accompanied by a squad of about 6 security officers, all of whom are local except for one, who is Olmec's agent, who is probably joining you at this point. Probably maybe not even there yet. But Olmec's not going to let this particular contingent go without somebody, under his charge with eyes on it. And then The name of that captain is Tonka, Tonca.
What is it again? Say it again.
Tonca.
Okay.
And then over on the almost exactly the opposite. Oh, wait, there's more about that situation. Organized there was I suppose you could say, a delegation or a procession or a panel of people who have been cleared by the local security services to be considered local dignitaries. So they would be some sort of guild leader, or a person who represents statements that will go up into the tower for pre-town, for lack of a better word, establishment people. Um, and one has probably been designated the mayor at this time.
Mm.
Although nobody ever probably thought of that person as the mayor before this. Some of them there's about 8 of these individuals. At least a couple look a little dubious, perhaps, um, in some manner or another. They really don't look like the council of the intellectual purity of research into botanicals that you would find all lined up upstairs, in their robes. They don't really have that kind of legitimate look to them, or overly ritualized, idealized look to them. I'm talking too much. But that's what's happening over there. There has been a like a little stage set. Think of it as a sound stage that's been set up there. There are media people that I mentioned, right? There are media people who are covering this event, um, and many of them have turned their attention to what is happening on exactly the opposite side of the big disc of the walk up, because there seems to be commotion. Um, on the other side of the walk up, and on the ground, not on the walk up itself, is a substantial crowd. And they're flying kites. And they are, if not shouting, pushing, throwing things. Now, Hibu can't really see this in detail, but just to describe that crowd over there, they also look like they're not inclined to be pushed around. Security service people are heavily outnumbered by them, but seem to be interacting with them pretty non-aggressively. It's kind of keeping eyes on what's happening, or trying to talk to some people that they know in the crowd on an individual basis, but they haven't formed like a line with riot shields or anything like that. So that is what about up on the walk up on that side? Up on the walk up on that side, we have Karnavix, we have Nlalok, and we have Kixikol, as well as perhaps a few other flightless Avix who don't seem, well, how am I going to put it? They seem very supportive of Karnavix. Now, everybody is flightless except for the security people. And Hibu and Kixikol. And Plekteklek, of course, can fly. So, right. So over there also, and directing so with some success, directing for lack of a better word, tolerant tactics of the security services, is another captain, and that one is named Mixamix. Spelled like it sounds. Yeah. Mixamix.
That's another security captain.
That's the one you were talking to. That's the one who has attempted to kind of meet you in the middle and turned out to be a little surprised that you were okay with that. That you would like to make your show a force, but you aren't necessarily out to cause a great big violent disruption either. That's so, and he's kind of like, let's keep it this way, right? This is good. This is good. Um, so to clarify a thing or two, this is what, based on the events of last time, I had decided, based on what Helma said, it seems as though Kixcall has picked up all of the following, which is that Hibu had been interested in learning more about people like Karnavix and had actually learned who that was. Karnavix had attempted to contact Kixikol regarding events. Kixikol had talked to Olmec about getting a visit arranged. And meanwhile, Lexi and Ka, Hibu's offspring, had approached Hibu with the basically a conspiracy, right? A conspiracy to adjust the political leanings of different parts of the society. And Tekteklek is actually their agent. You know that. He had come down to, he's kind of like their friendly media guy who had come down specifically to learn from Hibu whether they should get started. And they had misunderstood Hibu and thought the answer was yes, but was then bullied by Kixikol to come on this whole trip. All right. Now, and therefore, from Olmec's point of view, what on earth is going on? What on earth is going on? What is actually happening between Kixcall, Hibu, and Karnavix? It looks very, it looks like a lot of communication. It looks like a lot of back and forth. And the one thing that he could investigate, the one thing that actually would turn up something if he investigated, was Lexi and Ka. That's not good. So what does he do? He digs further, finds close contacts to Kixikol, and discovers that Zoxox, who might not actually be inclined to do anything bad to Kixikol, could easily be, in the context of a security interview, kind of led into saying things that are damning, especially because Zoxox is rather upset at Kixikol right now. So can you see how roles by everybody have actually fed into this? Olmec had already told Kixikol, look, my job in all of this is to keep you safe, but now is looking at this and saying, did my little buddy from the conference, did my little buddy, my friend, get dragged into this terrible situation, some sort of conspiracy with, up above and bad people from below, or did, has she gone wrong? So that is what I remember Helma was saying, oh no, what's up? I think I know what's up with Olmec, and this is pretty much the way it comes down for Kixkol's understanding. Good at making connections, right? You've made enough rolls to figure stuff out that there's no need to, this is where all the rolls pointed at. So
might as well just go with it.
Oh yeah.
Revolution.
Well, now Karnavix doesn't know hardly any of this. That's the fun part.
Right.
Karnavix is like, okay, it looks like I'm getting along with security people. You haven't run into any of Olmec's people yet at all.
Right.
And and Hibu also is probably not entirely up on all of these dynamics either. And had been, at least in the beginning, somewhat ambiguous or even encouraging to the designs of her offspring in the beginning. So told them to wait a little bit, but certainly didn't discourage them. So that is, who knows what's going on up there at this point. Now, I'm done for a little while. Y'all tell me what you're doing.
Right. Well, I would like to tell Locke, just as an aside, as we're walking up there, like, we're here to talk. We're not here to cry kids. So let's try and keep this thing civil. But and then I'll grab her arm, like, if things do go south, then be prepared. But till I give word, let's just be cool.
This is all kind of reiterating the role that you successfully made with her a couple of sessions ago. So
right,
she's on it. She gets it. She gets all this.
We're ready. But
the core phrase, as I recall, was if they start something.
If they start.
She remembers that very clearly. Okay.
She underlined it on her notes. But yeah, just gonna walk up, trying to be friendly.
Walking up where?
A good face I can. Well, just to, I guess, to the other group, if we see them, because
that'll be heading toward all the way across the walk up, right? All that distance, right?
Yeah.
Oh, but should Nalak and Captain Mix be able to open up corridor for us to get there?
Well, remember the middle of the walkabout. No, the middle of the walk-up is empty. The middle of the walk-up, the great big disc.
We saw them come down, right?
Up
so we
from
know they
below.
are there.
Correct. You know that the two groups know that each other is there. You can certainly recognize Hebu and that Hebu is there, but this is a long way away.
Yes.
But
that's why we need the help of able people who can kind of what's it called? Divide the waters.
Okay, I guess I feel like
person can move through the crowd.
I'm getting the idea that the visuals aren't quite right.
Okay.
If you imagine this huge raised disc, round structure that creates something you can walk on up there, and it is 500 meters across. There are buildings and things all around the edge, very irregular, including staircases coming up to it. But the middle doesn't have anybody in it.
Yeah.
The middle is
I
empty.
imagine it like I just imagine it like a huge plaza where normally people would go and there'd be stalls and vendors probably in the middle of that plaza with their little kiosk set up.
Right.
And circling it is just like the entrenched vendors and stuff will already like set up, and that's where they're at. So I just imagine like this big open area in the middle. In my mind, I imagine there probably is a pylon with a statue atop with the founding apes or something, but that big open plaza, that civic plaza in the middle of a city or something.
That's exactly the right visualization. So Helma, if your group is at one edge, and their group is on the other edge.
We are already in the open.
Right, correct.
Okay.
Right. And so the crowd is on the ground behind you, for the most part. So the what I heard from Jerry was that Carnivix is inclined to actually traverse the length of, or the diameter of the walk-up. And we have, and Mixamix and Lalak are there, and the and one thing Mixamix is doing is saying, all right, we have a limited. We're not going to be letting the whole crowd up onto the walk up. That's not going to happen. So it throws you a look and says, if you want to make your point, go ahead, but that they're not coming up here.